A very good morning, you're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. Airbus has ordered immediate repairs to 6,000 A320 family jets worldwide, affecting more than half the global fleet and threatening major travel disruption. The setback appears to be among the largest recalls affecting Airbus in its 55-year history and comes weeks after the A320 overtook the Boeing 737 as the most delivered model. The fix mainly involves reverting to earlier software and must be completed before planes can fly again. Airlines across the US, Europe, India, South America and New Zealand have warned of possible delays or cancellations. The recall stems from an incident involving a JetBlue A320 that experienced an unexpected altitude drop on October 30th, prompting FAA investigation. Airbus said that this incident had revealed that solar flares may corrupt data critical to the functioning of flight controls. Now let's take a look at what exactly are solar flares and how they affect flight operations, mainly Airbus A320. So remember that this is a solar radiation and the flights actually fly above the protective layer of the Earth's atmosphere. So that's how these solar radiations are actually affecting the flights. So when we look at this advisory, what exactly is solar radiation? Now, solar radiations are streams of energetic particles and electromagnetic waves emitted by the sun. So, these are cosmic solar rays that are emitted by the sun and they are electromagnetic and are high in energy. So, these are high energy rays. It includes visible light, ultraviolet light and charged particles like protons and electrons. So, this solar radiation has a spectrum. It can include visible light, ultraviolet light and also charged particles like protons and electrons. How is it affecting aviation? Now, when it comes to aviation, heightened solar activity can actually interact with an aircraft's electronics. Now, remember that all these solar rays or a cosmic ray, what engineers call this is that a single cosmic ray can cause a single event upset or a SEU. Now, what happens is that that's what we are trying to understand here. How does it affect an aircraft? So, when a single cosmic ray actually enters, it can penetrate through metal, it can penetrate through electronic avionics, and that's how it's affecting the aviation industry. Potential, so when what is the vulnerability that we are looking at? An Airbus A320 aircraft recently actually experienced an uncommanded limited pitch down. So, what happened recently was that a JetBlue flight of A320 flight actually went down. It lost a lot of flight distance over there, and this was because of solar radiations. Autopilot remained engaged with brief and minor loss of altitude. So, autopilot was engaged, but there was a brief but minor altitude loss, and this should not happen because the entire plane, the Airbus A320 actually runs on electronics. The entire thing is managed digitally. So, when this happens and when the autopilot is engaged, it becomes very difficult for the pilot to then know what is wrong with the aircraft. Now, investigators found that an ELAC-B hardware running software version L104 could be affected by solar flares. So, how did they come to know is because when the pilots are actually flying this, and since it's entirely digital, they would not come to know how solar flares are actually affecting the flight because they penetrate through this electronic system. But when they investigated, they saw that there is this particular software that was actually being affected by the solar flares, which caused this malfunction of loss of altitude. So when we talk about other vulnerabilities, the radiation actually hits the aircraft at 35,000 feet with more intensity than on the ground. So like I've been mentioning, when on the ground there is a protective a layer of atmosphere of the earth when the aircraft is there. However, when it's flying at 35,000 feet, then it actually penetrates this. Now, high energy particles can cause a single event upset, flipping bits inside the critical flight computer. So that's what happens. It actually upsets the flight control operations inside the aircraft. Modern jets like the A320 rely entirely on digital fly-by-wire system. So since it's entirely digital, unlike earlier flights, when a solar radiation actually affects your entire electronic chip system, things can go haywire. Now, if radiation corrupts the math, the system may misinterpret pilot commands. So there might be a misinterpretation of commands, and then hence that earlier example of loss of altitude. It can override control. So even if the pilot is trying to control the flight, it might override it and trigger automated safety loss. So it can also trigger automated safety loss if the math in that chip system is actually affected by solar flares. Pilots rarely know radiation is interfering as there are no alerts. So since there are no alerts for radiation actually affecting the flights, pilots remain unaware of this entire vulnerability during flight. When we look at the next, so this is how actually the entire system has been affected, and this is affecting the Airbus A320 aircraft family. Joining us on the broadcast is Dr. Vandana Singh, who is an aviation expert. Thank you, Dr. Singh, for joining us. A very good morning to you. This development is quite affecting a lot of disruption, causing a lot of disruption in the aviation industry currently, and we are seeing a lot of cancellations. In fact, could you help us understand how this will actually have an impact on flight operations, and also how it is actually affecting those flights, these solar radiations? Dr. Singh, if you can hear us.
I was muted, I think. Can you hear me, Strength 5 now?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. So, Dr.
Okay.
Singh, we were just talking about this entire disruption in the aviation industry. It's a massive disruption that's being caused due to solar, radiations.
Yes. Firstly, ma'am, thank you for having me on your show. In fact, since morning, I've been on various channels and for the same topic. Now, the question is, it is a rightful mandate, absolutely, which has to be followed, where we need these software updates to be done on the systems. Let's not forget that these are all machines. Machines are all electronically controlled. There can be software glitches. There can be miscommands. In this case, of course, an uncommanded pitch down that happened on the JetBlue equipment. Obviously, the passengers were saved and there was a safe landing, and only about 10 or 15 passengers got injured. But this could have led to a catastrophic outfall over here. Therefore, this is a mandate. This has to be followed. 6,000 aircrafts being affected, rightfully so. But this is a job that has to be done. The software has to be fixed. Let's not forget that just a few days back, I think about 4 or 5 days back, there was an ash cloud that was passing over India as well, where the where the volcano had burst. And the ash clouds also were carrying what you call the ash, as well as glass particles, sulfur dioxide, and radiation. So we are here talking about solar radiations. And we should know that the aircrafts fly at the troposphere level. And ideally at that level, which is at 35,000 to 38,000 feet, these get affected the most by the radiations. Therefore, a solar radiation glitch, a solar radiation that has impacted the equipments, needs the software update immediately on all these 6,000 aircrafts. So it's a right mandate that has been passed. Obviously, there will be passenger disruptions, but we have to remember that we cannot take chances with human lives. That comes number one. And you have nicely explained as to how the ripple effect happens when the solar radiation is affecting, how it's causing the electronic software glitch, which part of the equipment it is affecting, and what it is leading to, causing a miscommand, which can be a pitch down. Of course, in this case, uncommanded pitch down, and the pilots were, very much trained to take care of the aircraft. But why should we take chances? So Airbus has taken the right mandate. The EASA mandate is absolutely right. The FAA mandate is absolutely right. And not just the carriers you mentioned, but also Korean Air, also Japanese Airways, also JAL, Asiana, and all the Far East carriers have taken on the same mandate for the Airbus equipment. And A320 has to be immediately upgraded somewhere, the software, and also in certain equipments, ma'am, the hardware also has to be updated.
All
Let's
right.
not forget, these are all fly by wire, and let's not forget, these are all machines. And
Absolutely.
machines mandate this upgrade. It has to be done, ma'am.
Right.
Over.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh, for joining us on the broadcast. That's it from us on this bulletin. We are slipping into this commercial.